The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are going to go head-to-head this holiday season in an epic battle of new consoles, but with just a few months left till the launch of these systems, there are still many things we don't really know fully about them. What is the actual release date of these systems? And more importantly, what are the prices of these consoles going to be going for? After the successful reveal of the PlayStation 5, many people have hopped back onto the Sony bandwagon, but Xbox still has a major event coming up in July that will probably showcase a lot of things about the Xbox Series X, and maybe even its little brother, the Xbox Lockheart, now being referred to as the Xbox Series S. But what if Microsoft is actually playing a game of chicken with Sony on the pricing of these systems? Some new rumors are floating around from some pretty credible sources that the Xbox Series family of systems could be drastically cheaper than both the PlayStation 5 Digital and the PlayStation 5 Standard Edition. Now, what are these prices? And more importantly, what sort of impact would it have on this holiday season? I think we should talk about this. What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's talk about the latest price leaks for the Xbox Series X and see what sort of impact this could have on the video game marketplace come this holiday season. So pricing on both the PlayStation 5 and Microsoft's upcoming console, the Xbox Series X, has really been all over the place when it comes to rumors. I think when you look at both systems, the PlayStation 5 seems to have more known things than the Xbox Series X does in terms of pricing when you look at the systems. One thing that we of course know about the PlayStation 5 is roughly how much it's going to cost in order to manufacture each one of these systems when it comes to the standard edition of the system. It's being said that it's about $450+ in order to manufacture the PlayStation 5 Standard Edition, so more than likely this system will be about $500. Now, of course, PlayStation came out at the end of their event with a pretty big surprise. There wasn't just going to be the PlayStation 5 Standard Edition, there was going to be a PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. Basically, this Digital Edition would not have a disc drive on it, so of course this is done to keep costs down on this version of the system. Many people are expecting this system to be around the $400 price range, considering that it's really using the same technology as the PlayStation 5 is when it comes to things like power, teraflops, SSD. The main difference, of course, being the fact that this will not have a disk drive on it. Now, disk drives can be a bit expensive, as we've seen throughout the console generations, so this is a way for people to get into the PlayStation 5 library of systems at a lower price point. Now, both Sony and Microsoft have dipped their toes into the all-digital stuff beforehand. We've seen it over the past couple of years. Of course, Sony was the first to really do it with the PSP system. There was the PSP Go, which was an all-digital PlayStation Portable system. The PlayStation Portable, of course, used a UMD drive, so they got rid of the UMD drive and made it an all-digital system, and well, it didn't work out all that great. Now, of course, some of that had to do with the memory of the PlayStation Portable Go, because it had that proprietary memory card system, and those memory cards were just so expensive. You were better off getting like a used PSP and getting the UMD games for much cheaper than you were just buying everything digitally. The Xbox One S All Digital Edition, or Xbox One SAD, it was of course released onto the marketplace with little to no fanfare. And once again, I do feel like there were some determining factors when you look at that system though, because of the fact that, well, the Xbox One wasn't really all that popular. Of course, it didn't sell all that great comparatively to the PlayStation 4 or the Nintendo Switch, so releasing an all digital version of a console that's not really popular in the first place wasn't, of course, the brightest decision, but I feel like that was more of just a sort of marketing strategy to sort of see how the video game world would accept an all digital version of a console, because let's face it, that's what these companies probably want, because it really keeps costs down and you could do things like make the systems cheaper and get more revenue based on your games that are selling for these systems. But like I said, we've gotten a lot more information on PlayStation 5 pricing than we have on the Xbox Series X pricing when it comes to things like how much the system is going to cost to manufacture. Many people expected the Xbox Series X to be a $600 system, and I kind of was one of those people just because of the amount of technology in it. It of course is going to be the strongest console on the market with 12 teraflops in it, and so it's going to be a beast of a console, much like the Xbox One X was when it comes to premium consoles. But what if Microsoft is doing something different than what Sony is doing? Because we know that Sony is doing an all-digital PlayStation 5, and it's essentially, from what we know, going to be the same PlayStation 5 system, just minus a disc drive. But what if Xbox just goes in a different direction with it? And that's what it looks like is going to happen with the Xbox Lockheart, which is now being referred to as the Xbox Series S. So when it comes to the Xbox Series S, this is being rumored to be around 4 teraflops, which of course would be a fraction of the 12 teraflops that the Xbox Series X is going to bring to the marketplace, and it'll actually be less than the Xbox One X's 6 teraflops. But of course, it will be an upgrade over the Xbox One VCR, so that's going to be an important factor. Now, there's going to be no disk drive on this, which will be, of course, just like the Xbox One All Digital Edition, meaning that, of course, you would have to have a good amount of space for the games, and really services would probably be heavily touted on this system. Now, like I said, PlayStation 5 is doing the all digital system as well, and many are expecting a $100 price break with this, but this is where things just get absolutely crazy, because supposedly from a very reputable insider, the Xbox Series S system is going to be cheap, as in like $200 cheap. Now, this information is coming to us from an insider named Eastman, who allegedly has a very good track record when it comes to things like this, and basically what he said was the following: last I heard, it will be half the price of the Xbox Series X, and last I heard, it'll be half the price of the Xbox Series X. And last I heard, Microsoft were prepared for a $400 Xbox Series X. I'm not sure what the final price will be. I think if Sony is in the $500 to $600 price range, Microsoft may try to go in at the $200 to $400 to $500 price range, but we will see. Microsoft will make up any losses they take by getting a higher cut of game sales and more subscriptions. Pricing also depends on what Sony does. Microsoft doesn't have to go as extreme in pricing if Sony prices itself higher. Now, I don't foresee Sony taking a loss on the PlayStation 5 because when it comes to their games department, the PlayStation brand is one of Sony's most profitable things. But when you look at Microsoft, the games division is not really one of their most profitable things. They have many other things that they can sort of bank on when it comes to things like revenue. So they are in a much better position in order to take a loss on hardware sales because they can make it up on their strong subscription services. The $200 Xbox Series S sounds very, very attractive because you're going to be playing these same next generation games on this platform. All the third-party games that come onto the PlayStation 5, most of them of course are going to the Xbox Series X as well. So if you could get into these games at just a $200 price point by buying this Xbox Series S, it's going to be a very big deal for more budget-friendly consumers, which, let's face it, a lot of people are cheap asses and they want to get these consoles as cheap as humanly possible. Now, of course, you do have to factor in a few things with the Xbox Series S because of the fact that this system is going to be a $200 system and it's rumored to be a fraction of the power of the Xbox Series X. So while you're still getting those same games, you're not quite getting the same experience that you would get on the PlayStation 5. Now, how big of a gap will it be? What sort of detriment will it be as far as developing games and putting games on the Xbox Series S would be concerned? That really remains to be seen because, of course, right now, this is all just speculation and rumor. Hell, Microsoft themselves haven't even really announced the Xbox Lockheart. It's pretty much just been heavily discussed and, of course, rumored through various patents that Microsoft has done. So I can foresee that being sort of an issue for some people, but you gotta realize a lot of people don't even have 4K televisions and stuff like that. There's a large contingency of people that just want to play your standard games, your Grand Theft Autos, your Call of Duties, your Maddens, those yearly franchises that come out or get re-released a million times like Grand Theft Auto, and to play them on this new Xbox console that just costs you $200 could be a very attractive thing. And then there's the whole other side of the coin with this, is the Xbox Series X, a $400 console. The most powerful system on the market will be a $400 console because that will undercut the PlayStation 5, no questions asked. There's no way in hell that the PlayStation 5 Standard Edition is going to launch at $400 or less. I just don't see that happening. I think the digital version does have a good chance of launching at $400, but the Standard Edition, no, it just doesn't make sense when you look at how much it costs to build the system. Microsoft, like I said, they don't rely heavily on their games division in order to generate revenue for the company. Right now, subscription services and things like Game Pass and Xbox Live and xCloud and Game Pass on PC, that's what's driving Microsoft's game division right now. It's not even really the hardware side of things, so they are able to take a bigger risk when it comes to pricing. Really though, a lot of this comes down to what games are going to be coming to the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, because really that's still a question. We know third-party games are going to be coming to the system, but what about the first-party games? That was really Microsoft's weakest thing with the Xbox One, was just just sort of a lack of first-party killer titles that you needed to get that were only available on the Xbox platform. Also, how will this impact things like Game Pass on PC? A lot of these games are releasing day in on the Xbox One and the Xbox Game Pass on PC. So are you going to continue that business model and then sort of just cannibalize this $200 console that you bring to the marketplace? I think there will be a friendly balance between that sort of thing. I don't think Microsoft would go all in on that because I think they want some of their games to at least be available on Game Pass for Xbox first before they come to Xbox on PC. Then you also have the fact that for the first year or two, the Xbox Series X games will have to work on the Xbox One, which means, well, it'll have to work on the Xbox One VCR as well. So that will also throttle some games. I know a lot of people think that that's not a big deal, but when you look at the gap between something like the Xbox One to the Xbox One S, like there's a substantial gap there. And I think that having to still develop games that will run on the Xbox One Standard Edition could be a big detriment to Microsoft this console generation for the first year or two. Obviously, we're going to see how that has to work. You know, I guess games could technically just run at 2 frames per second on that system. As long as it technically works, then of course it does work. But I do think that remains to be seen. And then of course you have one other question. How does this impact Nintendo? I really don't think it does, because Nintendo is just on their own little island. Like, let's be real. Animal Crossing is exactly what Nintendo wants. Animal Crossing is the perfect game for Nintendo because they are now tapping back into that casual market that they lost after the Wii. Do you know how many people bought a Nintendo Switch just to play Animal Crossing? Mobile game players, people who don't even play games. Like, so many people did. It was absolutely ridiculous. So now they're getting that casual, that mobile audience that they want. They're getting them back on the Nintendo Switch. Now, of course, Nintendo isn't a position to lower the price of the standard Nintendo Switch to the $250 range, but I don't think that will necessarily have to be a thing this holiday season because of the fact that it looks like the Xbox Series S won't be coming out until 2021. And that's a whole nother thing, is that it seems like Sony will be launching with both systems available on day one, the digital and the standard edition, where it appears that Microsoft may not be doing the same thing. It looks like they're going to go with a more staggered launch, with the Xbox Series X coming in at $400 this holiday season, and then sometime in early 2021, the Xbox Series S would be coming out in that potential $200 range. All I know is it'll make for a very, very interesting console generation. You can't really pick a clear winner at the end of the day because people are going to gravitate to whatever system that they like to play games on, but I think it would throw a monkey wrench into things. I think that it would sort of halt PlayStation 5's dominance this upcoming console generation that they are clearly riding from the PlayStation 4 if Microsoft can undercut them and still offer a quality experience on these systems. Obviously, the Series X is going to be a beast of a system. The Series S is going to play the same games as the Series X, so it'll be a very interesting time. Obviously, nothing like we've seen in gaming before, so I'm not ready to say that it's going to be a clear-cut winner or a clear-cut loser, but I think it does have potential. But what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out other videos on the channel as well, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.